started. Before we get started, you guys, is there anything going on with anybody's bodies that I should know about, that I don't know about? Any requests? Huh? 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 No, but okay, fantastic. You guys are like, I don't want to tell. That's fine. As I'm guessing you guys figured, we're doing a live stream as well. So I've hit record. We're going to do our spiel and then we're going to get started. So hello, thank you so much for joining me for Sculpt All Levels, where we take the concepts of Pilates and integrate it with full body, multi-joint, multi-planar movement, and add in weight work and stuff as well. We have all the props today. We have a ball, a yoga block, a mini band, and some weights. But if you're at home and you don't have all those props, not to worry. You can use a pillow folded instead of the ball. You can ditch the yoga block. You don't have to use the mini band. It's just an added bonus. And if you don't have weights, you can either use whatever you have, like canned goods, like water jugs, wine bottles, or just squeeze your own beautiful muscles. And with that being said, anybody here, if you're like, this mini band, oh, it's too much, I hate it, get rid of it. Don't do anything that doesn't feel right for you and your body. Listen to your body first, me second. Feel free to modify, take breaks, whatever you need. We're gonna start standing. And just kind of check in, right? So it's just doing a little body check-in, right? So center your weight evenly over your feet, right? So sometimes we tend to have all of our weight in our heels or all of our weight in our toes. I'd like you to shift it forward and back a couple times and then find a nice even distribution. And just see kind of where your ankles are, right? Are your ankles back so much that you're in a plantar flexed position or a pointed position? Are you like really flexed, or are you nice and centralized? And then check out your knees, right? Are they bent? Are they hyperextended? Are they internally rotated? Are they externally rotated? Or are they just centralized? And then the hips, right? Are they kind of tucked under? Your booty's sticking back? Are you just kind of in a flexed hip position? Or can your hip bones point center? And then notice, same thing with the ribs, right? Same thing with the shoulders, same thing with the ears. Good. Now bring one hand to your front of your body, one hand to the back of your body. Now, without changing the shape of your spine, on your exhale, just draw your lower abs away from your hand. Good. And see if you just found more ab engagement, yeah? And then on your inhale, relax. Exhale. Good. Good. And we're trying to maintain our neutral here. So it's easy to try to find muscle activation by moving our spine or tucking. But think more about, if I had a rubber band and I was threatening to like flick you in the belly button with it, I wouldn't, don't worry. But what would you do? You'd kind of tighten up. Good. Two more. Last one. Now hold that engagement and just see if you start feeling those abs a little bit more as you hold your engagement. Good. Now, keeping that engagement, we're shortening the distance between our ribs and our hips. We're drawing our ribs back and we're coming into a forward fold, looking at our toes. Now, when we look at our toes here, that's kind of the position that we're going to want to be in with our mid back when we do ab work. Let your arms dangle. We're going to roll all the way down, trying to articulate through our spine, one bone at a time. Yeah, letting your head be heavy, letting your arms be heavy. Good. Now continue to let your arms be heavy and your head be heavy. Think about scooping your belly button, pushing into your feet and rolling up. So you're looking at your knees, you're looking at your thighs, you're looking at your belly button. We're pushing into the floor to roll up one bone at a time. Don't have to retract. Yeah, and then nod, hollow, and roll. I'm glad you knew I was talking to you. Yeah, yeah. Nice job, everybody. We're just starting to warm up a little bit. And hold it down here. Now, wherever your hands want to go, whether they're on your shins, on the floor, doesn't matter to me. Bend one knee, keep the other foot down. Yeah, and then switch. So we're just getting a little bit of movement through our thighs, which in turn moves our hips and lower back. Two more like this. Last one, walk your hands slightly forward into kind of like a tent position. It's sort of like a downward dog, but not as spread out. Take one of your hands, place it to the outside of your opposite ankle. Yeah. And then try to rotate to look underneath your armpit. And breathe. Good. Pushing the floor away so you're kind of in a little bit of thoracic extension, and then other side. And just breathe. Making sure that you're in a position that feels good, not bad. Bring that hand down. And all we're going to do is bend our knees, hover off of the floor. Inhale. Exhale, push your hands and toes into the ground, lift your knees and hips. Slowly come down, lengthening through your ears. If you need to bring your knees all the way down, that's okay, just don't drop into it. Keep it connected. Good. Two more. Nice hover. Keeping a little bit more pressure through your pointer finger. Last one. And come all the way down. Nice job, you guys. Now go ahead, find a position where your hands are directly underneath your shoulders and think about externally rotating through your arm bones slightly, pushing into the floor. Now, without rounding your back, draw your belly button up, kind of like what we did at the beginning, right? So exhale, and then you can float one hand up, push it down, other side. So think of little kitty cat paws, right? You're gonna make some biscuits. They're gonna be delicious. Good, couple more. Good. Now, if this feels good and you would like to advance it, extend one leg out. Now you can either tap it on the ground or hover it. We're still going to make those delicious biscuits. And notice how one side is much harder than the other. Side note, in the kitchen, I hate making biscuits. I don't like touching dough. Yeah. Two more. Yeah. I was a cake decorator, not a biscuit maker. I don't know. And then other side. So when you lift the same side, you do have to shift a little, but think more about pushing that knee down and out to get that glute, as opposed to letting yourself sink into it. Maybe you keep your toe gently tapped down on that side. That's okay. Yeah. Isn't that always how it works? One side's definitely easier than the other. Yeah, yeah, that's okay. Smushy biscuits still taste good. Two more. Good. Belly button's up, barely hovering that foot. Yeah. So we're not trying to get the leg up. I'd much rather your belly button lift. Good. Last one, each side. Nice job, you guys. Press yourselves into a little rest position. Roll out those wrists, hands up and over to one side. Push your hips away. And then the other side. And then come back to center. Go ahead and just know if you need to come off of your hands and come onto your forearms, that's fine. All right, you guys ready? It's gonna be great. Press down into your hands and then try to pull them apart a little bit so your shoulders kick on. Lift your belly button and keeping your toes untucked, we're going to press the floor away, coming into a little Halloween cat. And then back to center. Press into a little Halloween cat. And back. Now, if this is where you are, fantastic, stay there. If you would like, tuck your toes under, and as you press, your knees will float. And then you slowly bring your knees down and unwind. And then press, float them up. Good, yeah. A few more. Good. Nice job. 3 more. Like this. And then we can add on if you want. Last one like this. Now, if that's where you are, you can stick with that. Otherwise, we're going to bring our hands forward, tuck your tailbone towards the sky, squeeze your glutes and come into a knee plank. So it's easy to try to be here, but we want to press away instead. So lift your rib, yeah. So let's all try this together. We're going to bring our hands forward, lift your ribs, making that Halloween cat shape. Now keep that as you bring yourself forward. Good, straighten your arms for me. Yeah. Good, lift up higher. Lift here, higher, tuck your tailbone. Think of a plank, yes, that's great, good. Now, tuck your toes. We are just going to hinge around our shoulders, full plank. Good. Now hinge around your shoulders, tap your knees down. Don't come out of it. So a lot of times, if we feel our back or we feel our neck, what we're doing is we're sinking, right? And this sink is a lot on the shoulder, right? And a lot on the low back. So I want you to use the front of your body to make sure your back doesn't have to do all the work. 3 more. Good. Can you tuck your tailbone for me a little baby bit more? Yeah. And then I would like you to lift your hips a little bit more as well. Yeah, good. Last one. Knees down. Press yourselves into a rest position. Did you feel your back just a little bit extra? Yeah. As you got tired? Your hips were trying to do this. So next time, go the opposite way, like dialing them like this. Yeah. And then we get to come back into another plank. Guys excited? Great. So go ahead first. Wouldn't you like to know? So first, find your belly button, press your knees down and out a little bit so your glutes help. Now, I want you to think about lifting your ribs just a little bit more, lifting your lifting your hip bones a little bit more, tailbone underneath, just a little bit more. Yep. Slide one foot out. Good. Now, other foot comes to meet it. Good. Now you can bend one knee, reach it back. Other side. If that does not work for you, you can just hold it. Or you can come onto all fours and just slide one leg out at a time. Good. 3 more. Pushing the floor away, right? If you're here, that's a lot of bicep. Straighten the arms, push it away. Like if you were against the wall, and you were like, get out of here, right? 1 more. Last one, knees down, rolling out your wrists. Nice job, everybody. We're gonna take a small break from planks. You're welcome. And we're going to use our mini bands if you want. If you don't want, get rid of it. Bring them above your knees. And you can always, 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 oh my gosh, come on, mini band. There we go. If you'd like a little bit more challenge with this, you can always bring them down lower. As we do this, pay attention to your feet. So we're going to practice this once where we can see our feet, and then we'll go back. So all we're going to do, press your knees out to the side. and notice what your feet did. So for example, mine just kind of went flat because my hamstrings are trying to help. So now, keep your big toe mound down. Don't let them roll out. Keep your toes pointing forward. Use just up here to press out. Good. See how much more like effort that takes? Yeah. And then one more. You're gonna hold. Good. Now holding that, push down into the floor, push your feet into the floor, lift your hips, and slowly lower it back down. It's a hip hinge. Good. And again, I'll show a couple different positions. So instead of hanging out, push the floor away. Keep pressing with those glutes. We're just lifting. Hamstrings should be kicking on here. Abs should be kicking on. Nancy, lift your hips for me. There you go. And then slowly lower. Good. Two more. And do you feel how at different points, there's like this little wobble that tries to happen? Yeah. Keep your toes pointing forward. Last one like this. Good. And then we come all the way down. Now, widen your feet, but make sure your toes are still pointing forward. Think of the spiraling happening from your thigh bones. Push into the floor, come into a bridge. Making sure that we're not lifting from the shoulders or the ribs. We are tucking our tailbone, right? And then squeezing our glutes a little. Now slowly hip hinge down and then push into the floor, lift. Slowly hip hinge down, press lift. We have 4. 3 more. Hopefully, you're feeling your knees maintain position with your toes. And you can always slide your feet a little closer to you if you'd like to change the way it feels a little bit. 2, last one, hold it up. Now tuck your tailbone again, and we just press out more with one leg. Keep your big toe mound down, right? Don't supinate. And then back, other side. Everybody feel that side glute a little bit? Or a lot bit? Good. Few more. Now, if it's too much on your back, come down a little, right? Maybe you want to do this all the way down. Maybe you want to do it part of the way down. It's up to you and your body. 2 more. Last set. Come all the way down. Hug your knees towards your chest. We're going to come all the way up. All the way to standing. All right. Big wide stance. Now, if you need to, you can like turn sideways on your mat. It is totally up to you. Now, we're not going to just move our feet, right, with our knees pointing forward. We're going to think about our upper thigh rotating, and the foot comes along for the ride. Rotate, foot comes along for the ride, okay? And then if you're in this hip flexed position, squeeze your buns forward so you are upright. Gorgeous. Slowly sink all the way down, keeping your knees over that second and third toe. So if you're like, oh, no, it's not working, bring your toes in, okay? Now, try to find a little bit of buoyancy through your hips. And we're going to make sure we stay in a range that feels okay on our knees. All right, so if as you do this, you're like, this doesn't feel great on my knee, don't go into the range that doesn't feel good. Maintain this position on this leg. Slowly resist the band, let that knee come in, and then use your glute to press out. And then hold that. You can press out more, Suze, with that left side. Yep. Now slowly let the other side come in. And then use your glute to help rotate it out. Good. And again. Now, if your hips are moving here, that's actually less effective than letting your thigh bones move. So it's okay to bring your feet closer together. And just think of letting it rotate, but without force. It's like all you're doing is just no longer fully pressing. And of course, it's easy to boop. We don't want to do that. We want to tell our body, yeah, you can do that move, but you don't have to. Everybody doing all right? Good. Everybody feeling their glutes a little? Good. Or a lot? Good. Couple more. Good. Now, as you do this, pay attention to your foot. Is your arch collapsing in? Right? It's not necessarily bad if it collapses in, right? Our foot is meant to move like that. But notice if you don't let it collapse in, it's harder on the glute, right? The glute has to do more work if the arch stays upright, right? One more each side. Good. Now, we're going to do some side steps, but instead of stepping out with the leg the direction you're going from, you're going to drive this other leg into the ground. So we're all going to take a step to our left. I don't know my right from my left. We're going left. Push down into your right foot to push you to the left. And then when we go to the right, push off the left. So the leg you're walking away from is the leg that is working harder. Yeah? Yeah. Good. Couple more. Hey, if you need to get rid of the band, can you? Yes. Couple more. 3, 3, 2. Good. Last one. Come all the way up. We're going to do a roll down to make sure that our back can relax and it wasn't doing all the work in the world. And then roll it all the way back up. Good. All right, we have some options. Option 1, keep the band. Option 2, get rid of the band. Those are our 2 options. Bring your feet together. Think about squeezing your inner thighs together like you're trying to pop a balloon. And then think about your glutes. So almost like you're squeezing your inner thighs and then you're rotating your thigh bones out. So now inner thighs and booty are both connected, yeah? Send your hips kind of down and back. Knees can come forward though. We're not keeping them stationary. We're letting ankle dorsiflexion happen. Good. Now, slide one foot out. Fold it in. Slide it out. Now, if this is too easy, you can bring the band down in between your feet, but it's much, much harder, okay? And then I feel this in my hamstring more than my glute. And we have just a few more here, making sure that as you breathe, you're trying to inflate into your back. You have 5, 4, 3 more. If you've ever done reformer work, think of scooter. Hold this last one out. Now we have options. You can keep that foot out. You can bend it in. We are hip hinging. Notice how this knee on me is still bent. Right? I want you to keep that knee bent. Stick your butt out a little bit. Hold. Everybody feel that glute just kick on? Yeah, push into the ground, hip hinge up. Good. So if this is happening, I need you to think about that rotation. And we're not trying to go super, super low, right? If you can get down, that's great, but that's not our goal. We're trying to find a flat back, sending your tail feathers back, eccentrically loading that glute max. Yeah. Yeah. Breaks are great. If you need to get rid of the band, it's fine. Good. Good. Bringing your belly button with you. Couple more. Making sure the ribs aren't trying to point to the sky. 2 more. Last one. Good. Now, I have wonderful news we get to add on. You guys ready? Now, we have options. So you can just stick with the hip hinges, it's fine. Or you can slide that foot out, slide it in, or you can tippy bird and bring it in. Well, I haven't tippy birded in a while. If you're tippy birding, one long line from your ears to your feet, right? Good. Yeah. How's that glute feeling, everybody? That stabilizing glute. So good, right? Yeah, we have just a few more. 4. This is also why I'm like, you can take breaks. You can get rid of the band. 2. Last one. And come all the way up. All right, so push this foot into the ground. And I don't want you to necessarily go into knee extension immediately. You're gonna push down, squeeze your butt slightly forward, and then lift that knee. So everything's really connected. Yeah? And then lift that other foot. Yeah. Good. Now, if it's appropriate, so first, while you're here, look down at your knee. If you see mine is forward, it's because my hip flexors are tight, okay? So if as you're doing this, you feel this part of your leg instead of back here, we have tricks aplenty, all right? So you're just gonna brush that knee out to the side without letting that knee come in, yeah. Nope. Same foot. Yeah. Good. Good. Now, if you're like, oh, I just feel this, as you brush out, think of externally rotating slightly and try to bring your knee in line with the other one. We have 4. 3 more. That's it. Suze, you can straighten your leg now. Squeeze your butt forward. Squeeze your left butt cheek forward. Yeah, there you go. I know that was a weird, like, but you got it. I also don't know my right from my left, so I'm like, which one is it? Last one? Guess what? Other side. You guys excited? Yeah. So first, take a second. Think about squeezing your inner thighs together, right? Like you're trying to pop a balloon. So that inner thigh is gonna help, theoretically, right? And then we're gonna rotate our thigh bones. Good. And then let your knees come over your toes, but let your hips also move. So we're trying to find triple flexion. Flexion at the knee, flexion at the hip, flexion at the ankle. And we tap. That's it. And then as you do this, check in, right? So for example, I have a hard time finding my glute on this side. My hamstring loves to help. So if one side feels just a little bit different, instead of trying to fight it, think about your hip bones and just let one hip bone slide back ½ an inch. See if that helps. Or think about your tailbone and think about your tailbone just pointing the opposite direction ½ an inch. Good. You okay? Everybody okay? Everyone has the same, like, I know. Just a couple more. 4. But think about how strong your glutes are gonna get, you guys. And think about how awesome that is. What do we need our glutes for? Everything. Good. All right, we're gonna hip hinge. So you can take it out, or you can bring it in. Think about your sits bones reaching away from you. Good. Hold it about 90, keep that knee bent, push down into the foot, hinge it up. Yeah. And then fill your back line with breath. So when I say glutes are important for everything, let's talk about actual things that they're good for. Aside from looking cute in pants, right? That's like, that's nice, but who cares, right? That's true, okay. Every song is like, the only reason glutes are good is for cute pants. But really, functionally, They're good for walking, hiking, going upstairs, cycling, being able to bend down to pick something up off the floor, right? How's everybody doing? Still good? Got a couple more like this. Good. All right. Now, we're going to keep with the hip hinge, but you can slide the foot out behind you and slide it up. Or you can tippy bird. So whatever works best for you and your body today is what I'd like you to do. If taking a break and going into Shavasana is what works best for you right now, I'm not mad about it, right? And just keep in mind, when we are balancing, yes, challenging our balance is really needed. But if we go into a position where we're so unbalanced that we can't control it, our nervous system freaks out a little bit and it's not going to necessarily balance easier. We want to be right on that precipice of being able to fully control it, right? Just a little challenge. We have two more. Good. Anybody not feeling this glute? Great, okay. Last one. Bring it up. Same side, we're gonna push into that foot, squeeze your butt forward so we're in at least neutral hip, if not slight hip extension, and then push into the floor. Good. And then we lift. Yeah. Good, everybody. Making sure we're not hyperextending. We're using our quad, our hamstring, and our thighs to help us. Yeah. And we brush. Now, once again, if our hips are helping us, think about the thigh being what's moving. And if you're like, oh, I feel the front corner of my hip, look at your knee, right? Maybe you have to tap your toe down and think of a clamshell where you just rotate. That's okay too, yeah. How's everybody doing? So good? Great. Guess what? This is our last thing with the mini band for now. Two more. I don't know what this is, except I've been watching Schitt's Creek a lot. Two, last one. Good, nice. As we do our roll down, we're taking the band off. Good. And you can get rid of it. All right, so if you're at home and you have access to a yoga block, awesome. If you don't, that is fine. You can do this on the floor. I'll show both. If you have a squishy mat, you might just flip the mat, stack it too high. Otherwise, we're going to come onto our yoga block. So once again, if we tend to flex at our hips, really think about squeezing that glute forward. And then make sure that your hips and ribs are facing forward as much as possible without bracing. And now float that other foot up. Good. Yeah. Beautiful. And then all we're going to do is, without bending the knees, keep your knees straight. Let one foot kind of slide towards the ground a little bit from the hips, then push and lift. Okay. I'll show it a couple different angles. Yeah. So my hips are what's moving, right? One hip lifts, yep. And then other hip lifts, yeah. Now, if you don't have a yoga block, just bend the knee. It's the same thing, right? It's just our brain finds it slightly more confusing with a bent knee because it tends to bend the other knee. Now, as you do this, once again, if you're feeling the front corner, think more about squeezing your glutes forward ever so slightly as well. Good. Everybody feeling that side booty just a little bit? This is really important for walking. Yeah. Two more. Walking is almost always the easy answer, right? Good. Good. And just hold. Yeah. Now, you're going to tap that toe down, bend forward a little bit. And you can always lift that leg whenever you want, moving ribs and hips in one piece. Think of your thigh, your inner thigh pulling your opposite hip bone down, so that inner thigh just worked. Then you're gonna push down and back to get to center. You don't have to go past, so come to center and then rotate towards that knee. Yeah, there you go. So inner thigh brings your hip bone to look, and then center. So think of, oh, pew pew, you've got the finger guns, right? So rotate, and then quick draw back to center. Yeah, 2 more. Feeling what your foot is doing, right? Of course you can do this with that leg up. I would put your toe down or bring it off of the mat, because the block and the mat together are just really unstable. Yeah, good. Yeah, it's a little easier, isn't it? Yeah. Last one. Good. Nice job, you guys. Guess what? Yeah, other side. I like how excited you sound. Other side. Just find upright. Yeah. And just kind of see what your body's saying. One side might be much easier than the other. That's fine. And then you float. Then you slide, trying not to let the hip shift, right? It's about lowering and then pressing to lift. Lowering. Keep your knees straight. Lift your toes off the ground. Flex your foot. Now, try to keep your knees straight. And then keep your knees straight. Look in your mirror. You're trying to bend your knee on this side. Yeah. So think of the hips moving. Good. And once again, on the ground, it's just you bend the knee. It's a little trickier. Good. So this is an exaggerated version of it. Yeah, good save. But when we walk, our hips aren't supposed to really rotate. They're supposed to kind of move up and down. But it's a motion that's kind of hard for us to find because we either sway or rotate. Last one like this. Good. And then you can tap that toe down, bend that knee, and we rotate. Hip bones, ribs come along for the ride. We're not leading with ribs, right? So if you need to, hug yourself even. Think about the hip bone and then press, rotate back to center. Or you can have your hands on your hips and then back. Good. Yeah. Trying to keep that knee in alignment. Yeah. Inner thigh. Almost think of that thigh bone being suction cupped in the socket. And then back. Oh, that's way more inner thigh. Good. 2 more. I like how many of you decided at first to hug yourselves. And I think it's because the glutes are working so hard. You're like, you're doing awesome. 2 more. Yeah. Last one. Nice job. You can come all the way off of there. Now, I'm going to turn my mat. You guys are welcome to do what works for you. I just want everybody to be able to see this. We're going to come on down onto our knees. Good. Yeah. Now, slide 1 foot forward, hold it above the ground if you can, and bring it back down. Slide it forward, hold if you can, and then back down. If you're like, bring it forward, and then maybe lift for just a second, okay? And then boop, as you bring it down, right? So it can lift in between. Yeah. And it just gives us information, right? Yeah. And just notice what one side maybe does in comparison to the other. So for example, my left side goes forward pretty easily. My right side tries to internally rotate to get there, right? Which it's not bad, it's just your body's strategy, right? And sometimes it's not even about stopping that strategy. It's about figuring out why that's its strategy, right? Because sometimes it might be muscular, but oftentimes it's our nervous system being like, well, this is the way I have to do it, right? Good. I knew it. I'm like trying to lasso. You guys okay out there? Good. Last one. Good. Now, bring it forward. And let's just discuss this. So we are very upright, okay? And upright isn't bad, but upright is a lot of quad, can be a lot of knee. So take your hips and slide them back just a little, and then tuck your toe under, press down into that foot, think of your ears reaching forward. Good. And if you need to bring your feet closer together, that's fine. Now bend, and then lift. Good. Few more. Yeah, let's just stay here. Thinking of everything, right? Our hamstring, our glute, our quad, and our thigh. Good. Nice. 2. Now, if your foot's really far back, you're in hip extension and this feels okay, great. If you're like, man, my back knee doesn't want to bend, and it just kind of collapses, you might be forcing too much stretch over it. So let your ribs fold. Think mostly of this front leg doing the work. Good. Last one. And then we get to do the other side. So just bring it forward. And then once again, double check, right? If we're upright, it's not bad, but maybe here we'll let you use your glute more. Press down to lift up, right? And then slowly lower. Gorgeous. And then press down to lift up. Maybe your feet are closer together, but once again, if you're like, I just feel this quad a lot, maybe you're very up and down. If you're like, I just feel my back leg, maybe your leg is too far out. And when your quad starts to stretch, it kind of gets stuck, right? So, and if you're like, man, my balance is terrible, see if you're on a tightrope. It's okay to be on train tracks instead of a tightrope. Good. Last 2. Good. Last one. Good. Now we get to switch legs. Take it down. Bring it up. Switch. Take it down. Maybe bring it up. I'm like, it's going to loop this around myself. Yeah. Good. Nice, everybody. And I mean, I guess you all know what this is really important for. Yeah. A lot of times with stuff like this, it's almost like we're like, I don't need to worry about it, I'm fine, until we're not, right? But now, if this is too easy and you'd like to advance it, we're taking it onto a different plane of motion. So instead of forward, you'll take your leg out to the side and you'll rotate. And then you'll rotate back. And then out to the side. Maybe that works for you. Maybe it doesn't. That's okay. Good. You could also try lateral. Out, up. I honestly think laterally is way harder, but that's just me, right? Last set. Right, so we have one more each side. Good. Yeah, nice job, everybody. All right, while you're down, we're going to find a position that we're going to use for arms. All right, so first, come onto all fours. You can be on your fists if you need to. And I just want you to feel your shoulder blades, okay? A lot of times we all tend to live here because of our daily lives. And with our shoulder blades, I want you to kind of tip them back. It's not a retraction, it's a tip, okay? So think about your shoulder blades tucking under. Good. Yeah, find it, you guys. It's gonna be great. Yeah, now, keep that position of your shoulder blades. Bend an elbow to your side. That is it. It does not need to go beyond your side. Suze? Yeah, think more about widening through your collarbones. Yeah. Now, hold that. Think about your mid-back helping you. And then other side. You can also think about your elbow drawing down rather than up. So like down towards your hip as it comes in line and hold. Now, go to that first side, hold. Do not move your upper arm bone. Don't move your shoulder. All we're gonna do, straighten that arm. Hold, hold, keep it straight and hold. Everybody feel that tricep starting to kick on? Great. One more on the other side. Hold, and then extend. All right, lovely. Now we can add weights. Now as we add weights, if all of a sudden you're like, my neck and shoulders, get rid of the weights, okay? So with this, we're going to start with rows. Once again, we're not here. We want to keep our shoulder drawing down, keep our collarbones wide. We're feeling our mid-back. If this position is too much, because it's a lot with gravity, you can always come upright. Think about just bringing your elbows straight back, okay? So this is fine. Everybody start rolling. Yeah. So this is an okay variation. Don't necessarily get your elbow behind you very much. So keep it in line with your ribs. Making sure your elbow on the, like the hand on the ground, that elbow is staying straight. We're just sliding that other elbow down towards the hip. This can be a hard one to find, especially in this position. But anytime, we should still be able to find those muscles. One more, each side. Now hold this last one. Once again, we're not here, we're here. Straighten that arm, hold. Hold, hold, slowly lower. Straighten the arm, hold, hold, slowly lower. Straighten the arm, hold, hold. How's that tricep? Slowly lower. One more. Hold, hold, slowly, slowly lower. Other side, bring it in and down. And then straighten and hold. Hold, hold, slowly lower. Reach. This is why we found it without weights first. And slowly lower. Hold. Slowly lower. One more. Hold, 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 hold. Bring it down. All right, so before we continue, we're gonna check to make sure we can actually get our arms in line with our ears, right? Good. Now, if your ribs are popping, close them. Good. Gorgeous. Now, if with the weights overhead, you're like, oh man, this is much harder to do than I thought it would be, I will show you variations. Otherwise, press. Slowly let your arms descend down our tricep and reach. We're almost there. Good. Beautiful. Yeah, that elbow looks better. Yeah, good. Yeah. Now, if this doesn't feel great, you can always do what is lovingly referred to as skull crushers, but I'd rather you not actually, you know, make the name valid. If you need to, you bring the hands in front of your face. You slowly Bend the elbows and then straighten. Good, we have 3. Good. 2, everyone feeling those triceps a little? Yeah. Last one. Slowly bring them all the way down. All right, we are going to use our ball, or at home, a pillow folded. And if you have a yoga block, you can use it between your knees. If not, that's fine. You could also use a second pillow. So I'm going to put this behind my mid-thoracic, right? So everybody's proportions are different. I have a really long torso. So if mid-thoracic is too high up, move it down. No problem. Hands behind your head. And just so you guys know, I can see all of you if you're like, man, she's looking the other way. So lift your ears to the sky, coming into your chest lift. Good. Now, Nancy, nod your chin. Yeah. Now, everybody try to keep your ribs drawing towards your belly button and slowly start to extend. It's like you're resisting gravity. You're drawing those ribs in towards that belly button still. Good. And then inhale at the end. Exhale, curl forward. Hold. Now bring your hands forward. Push your fingertips into an imaginary surface. Keep that weight off the ball, right? So you just took like a pound of your weight off the ball. Keep it there, keep it there, keep it there, keep it there. Yes. Hands and slowly lower. Anybody else start trembling immediately? Yeah. Exhale. Bring it up. Hands. Push. Hold. Don't put your weight back on the ball. Yeah. And then slowly extend. So sometimes, especially as our abs get tired, we tend to like hang out on the ball. And we're like, okay. And then we start extending with it. But our goal is to curl and then maintain our curl. And then we are challenging our body because we are putting more weight at a different portion of our lever. Everybody doing all right? Good. And curl. And 2, you're almost there. Last one, last one. And bring it up and hold. Yeah. Now, rotate to one side. Yeah, and then back. Rotate to the other side. Good, I just saw that like 1,000-yard stare. Good, curl a little higher towards me. Yeah, I would actually move your ball back a little. Yeah, good. Yeah, that looks easier. Good, and by easier, I mean easier to find. Good. Trying to rotate our ribs around our spine like it's a spit. Good, without letting the ribs shift. No typewritering. Good. Couple more. Yeah. Now come back to center. All right, we're going to rotate to one side, hold. Extend over the ball, maintain that rotation. Maintain that rotation, come up. Maintain that rotation, slow. Maintain that rotation, lift. Oblique central, yeah? Especially because we're going past neutral. We're going into an extension. So the obliques are lengthening, and then we're getting them on that lengthened position too. So we're actually working our obliques in a range we don't often get to. 2 more. Last one. Other side. So we rotate, maintain that rotation, slowly extend. Maintain that rotation, bring it up. Couple more. How's everybody feeling? So good? Only one person responded, it's fine. 2. Last one. Go ahead, come all the way up for a second. Set that to the side. Now Bring the ball a little closer. Think about your armpit muscles drawing down. We're gonna curl back until your arms are straighter. So I have short little arms, so they can be fully extended at a very like short distance. So it's up to you. Good. Think about your belly button pulling back, ribs drawing down. Yeah. Now just let one hand come out to the side. Don't move anything else. And then bring it back, connect in with that armpit, other side. So I'm picking a spot on the floor and I'm looking at it, because if I look at my hand, my torso moves, yeah? Good. Do you guys feel how now your obliques are having to stabilize you against rotation? Don't let your body rotate. Yeah, so you're taking your arm too far back and your scapular retractors are pulling you. Yeah. Good. So I would, if you want more work, curl here more, roll back more. Yeah, good. And then, yeah. And instead of opening the arm out to the side, bring it forward first, connect the armpit down, and then take it out. Yeah, there you go. Good. Does that make sense? Good. How's everybody feeling? Great? Good. One more each side. I know. So one reason these are hard is pulling or getting our arms on our legs and engaging our armpit muscles. It causes an innervation, which are like the muscles around a joint all have to work. So we're actually activating more muscles than if we were just to like take the arm out. Now, we're gonna take it out to the side, hold, and then flip your palm up if it's not, rotate, look at it, and then back. Yeah, breaks are great. Yeah. And then look at it, we're almost done, you guys. I promise. Now if you're like, yeah, that's cool, I'd like more work, get rid of the prop. Good. Keeping both feet down, shoulders out of the ears, right? They don't have to be forced down, they're just not up, right? Couple more. Last one. Now extend one leg out, we roll part of the way down, extend it back. Now if you've got the ball, all you're gonna do is lean into the ball and back. Lean into the ball and back, okay? If you get rid of the ball, just extend, slide it back, extend, slide it back, good. Couple more, think of curling. Good, now, if this is where you are, great. If you would like more excitement, you're gonna roll it back, bend your knees in towards your chest. Roll it back, and you can either tap them down or extend. Good. Move your ball back farther. Yeah, and then don't go to, yeah, that looks better. Good. Good. Hey, can you use your arms and legs here? Yes. 100%. Two more. Good. Think of a curl rather than a hinge. So nod your chin, hollow out, yes. Nice job, you guys. Come all the way up, move your prop out to the side, both legs extend. We're gonna roll it all the way down. Roll ups. And then slowly roll all the way up. Now, if you get stuck, who cares? It's fine. Couple things we can do. Nancy, hold up your prop. So there is a gardening pad that below the lower back can be really helpful if you feel like your back isn't moving. The other thing you can do is if you're like, oh, I don't have a gardening pad, I don't have access to that. Use a weight, right? It can help you come up a little. Yeah. I'd use both your weights. Then you don't have to use momentum, both weights. Yeah. And then the other thing is bend your knees an inch. Yeah, that was so much better. That was great. Yeah. We have a couple more. Yeah. So it's all about like spinal articulation here. And everybody's spine is different, everybody's hips are different, everybody's proportions are different. So If I'm getting stuck, which I used to, offloading and letting my pelvis roll more, or even using a leg can help, right? Last one, everybody. All the way down, all the way up. Good. We're going to come all the way up. You can get rid of your weights. It's coming all the way to standing. Good. Now, we're going to bring one foot forward. Bring your hands forward. Shoulder blades draw down your back. We're going to open up our chest. Look. Switch legs, Suze. Yeah. And then bring it back. And then open, and you can bring your palms up if that feels good. We're getting a little bit of thoracic rotation. And now we're gonna rotate, hold. Make sure we're not arching from our low back. We're gonna lift our collarbones and then back. And again, rotation, extension. One more, towards that front leg, so we can't let our hips move that much. Other side. Good. So bring the hands forward. Shoulders draw down your back a little baby bit, then open. Yeah, good. And back. Now, hey, let's try something fun. Look at the back hand. Now hold that and try to look towards your front hand without moving. All of a sudden, everything's unbalanced, right? The rotation is harder. So now just look at your hand that's moving and see how you can get a little bit more rotation from it. Now just lift the chest a little. Yeah, two more. Good. Last one. Bring your feet together. Slide your shoulders up. Drop them down. One more. Nice job, you guys. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you so much for joining me today. You guys did amazing. Nice work. Really, really nice job. Felice, how did everything feel?